In this chapter, we're going to introduce some of the basic ideas of probability. In this lesson, we're going to compare the measures of central tendency.
Okay, hi everybody. So now we're going to look at measures of central tendency kind of in general. Okay, and so what we want to do here is I want to talk really quickly about the mean, median, and mode, and kind of what they do. And in this lesson, we're going to look at situations here and we're going to make a judgment as to whether, do we really want to use the mean, do we want to use the median, or do we want to use the mode when we're talking about the measure of central tendency. Now, when we use the mean, okay, and I don't remember if we've mentioned the symbol here, but the symbol that we typically use for mean is like this fancy U with a little bit of a tail off to one side here. It's called mu. This is the center of the data. Okay, now in terms of the values that we're dealing with, okay, it's like the values on the left, values on the right, they're the kind of the same. It's this mean is the center of the heap, okay, in terms of the amount on either side of it. Now, it might not be one of the data values, okay, and it is sensitive to outliers, okay, because what it tries to do is it tries to even out the amount of value to the left of it and to the right of it along the spectrum here of the data. If there's a data value that's way out of line with the rest of the data, the mean tends to be quite sensitive to that. So for example, if you've got like a whole bunch of points like this, let's say you've got it on a number line here, and here are your points right here. Normally you would think that the mean would be somewhere in the center, but if you've got another point that's way out here, what that does is that pulls the mean further over to this side of the data. Okay, so although it's the center of like the values, if you will, it's not really representative of what is the normal group. So it's sensitive to outliers. Now, the median may also not be a data value. We looked at that before when we talked about the median, okay? Because in some cases what you'll do, if there's an even number of data values, you'll take the mean of the middle two. But it's not affected by outliers, okay? You could have a value way out here, that has no impact, because all we're doing here is laying them out in order and just grabbing the middle value. I don't care about what the values themselves are. I just want to find the middle one, okay? So it doesn't take all of the data into consideration. So one of the nice things about the mean is it does take all of the data into consideration. Now the mode is always a data value, and sometimes that's important, okay? And it can also be used for non-numerical data, okay? If we're talking about people's favorite ice cream, for example, that's not numeric data. That's certainly qualitative, okay? We want to know, is it vanilla? Is it chocolate? Is it strawberry? Whatever it is that you're asking about, okay? Anyway, let's take a look at some examples, and I'll see if we can kind of explain as we go through what it is we mean by this. Okay, let's take a look at some questions here. So Thomas is a realtor and he's interested in selling houses in a certain neighborhood. So the following is a list of the assessed values of the houses in the neighborhood. Okay, so we've got all the house prices listed here. So what's the mean house price? Well, the mean is simply going to be the sum of all the values. Okay, whoops. Plus 575 is 1, 2, 3. Okay, plus 280, whoops, 85, 1, 2, 3, 300, 1, 2, 3. Wow. Whole lot going on there. Divided by, and I believe there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, I think there's supposed to be 9. I missed one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, I missed one. So there, I missed the 3 plus the 330, 1, 2, 3. Whoops. My mistake. Divided by 9. And when I do that, I get the mean price is $355,000. Okay? Okay, so there we go. Now, what's the median house price? Well, in order to get the median house price, I kind of have to put them in order here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of drop the 3 zeros here, just so that I can get a sense of how this works here. So this is like 345, this will be 285, 350, 575, 365, 285, 300, 330, and then 360. It'll be just easier to organize those numbers here. So my lowest there is going to be 285, and there are two of them. And then I've got, what's next? Looks like 300. Probably should knock those off there as I write them. Sorry, 300, I should have done that, and then 330. And I've already knocked that one off inadvertently. 345. 350, 360, 365, and then 575. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, got all of them represented there, which is good. And so now the median is just going to be the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In a group of 9 values, it's going to be the fifth one that's going to be the middle. So the median house price here would be $345,000. Now, the mode is the one that shows up the most often. And in this case, it's going to be $285,000. Okay, so now we take a look at the problem like this. Well, which of the above measures of central tendency is the best representative of the average house price? Now, we've got 355,000, 345,000. There's like a $10,000 difference between those two. And then this one's got quite a jump down here to 285. Now, if you were to ask Thomas here, what is the best representative of the house prices in this neighborhood, what's he going to say? Well, now, I suspect that the answer to this question is going to be the median. Okay. Now, sometimes the calculations here, there's not a huge difference between these two. This one is clearly not a representative of the middle. It represents the back end here. These are the smallest values. Okay, that can't be anywhere near the middle. Okay, but 345, 350 here, well, now we're talking about somewhere in the middle here. But if you lay these ones all out, notice that 355, if you put these all out in order, 355 is here. 6 of them are below that price, and 3 of them are above. Well, the reason it's like that is because the mean is sensitive to this outlier. This 575, that is a substantial jump. That's more than $100,000 more expensive than the next house below it. So I think the mean here is probably not a good representative. It's probably a better representative would be the median. Okay? Now, that's in this particular scenario. And sometimes it's not just a matter of looking at the data and saying, well, which one of these looks like it's more in the middle? Sometimes it's more about recognizing, you know, when I look at the data, does the repetition of a value, is that important here? Is that really important? Or I might say, are all the data values important? Or are there some that I just want to ignore for the time being because they're affecting the mean in a kind of a harsh way there? And in this case, I think that's kind of what's happening here. This one is a little bit large. It's kind of skewing the mean up a bit, so the median probably makes the most sense. Okay, so in this question we read that last week Sophia sold pants with the following waist sizes. Okay, so here we go. Determine the mean, median, and mode of the pant sizes. Okay, well, the mean is going to be the sum of all of them plus 32 plus 46 plus 34 all over 10. And when you do that, you're going to get 35.7. Okay. Now, the median, well, the median only makes sense once we put these in order. So let's put these in order here. So what have we got here? If we take a look at it, it's going to be 28, I think is the smallest one there. Then the next one is going to be 32. Whoops, 32, 34, 34, 34, 34, okay, 37, 38, and then I had that 40 there. Now let's just make sure I had 10 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope, I'm missing one. Oh, and then there's the 46. Sorry, I forgot about the largest one there, 46. So the median because there's 10 values here, the median is going to be the mean of the middle two. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this case, it's going to be 34 plus 34 over 2, and that's just going to end up being 34. And then our mode here is going to be 34, because that's the one that clearly shows up the most often. Now, which of the measures of central tendency should Sophia use to help her restock for next week? Well, to help her restock, what she needs to do is she needs to target the group that's grabbing these items the most frequently here, and that's the 34. So she's going to want to use the mode. Okay, 35.7. There isn't even one in there that is 35.7. Now, although the median, okay, and the mode are the same in this case, it's actually the mode that makes the most sense. Now, it's not because of the value, but it's because of the concept. Okay, the fact that the median doesn't necessarily have to be one of these items. Okay, well, she is limited to these items when she goes to restock. So the fact that the median might not necessarily be one of these items makes it kind of not a great example to be using here. The mode is probably the best one to use here. Okay, and in this last question here that we're going to look at, it says the following is a list of Caleb's marks on his math unit exams. Okay, and they're all listed out there. We want to determine the mean, median, and mode. Okay, well, the mean, once again, is going to be the sum of all of them divided by the total number of them, and there are 7 there. And I've kind of done this off to the side here, so it turns out that's going to be 67.7, okay, or 68%. The median, well, the median, we need to put these things in the correct order, so his lowest mark here looks like it's going to be 60. And then it jumps up to, what do we got here? Looks like 76, 76, 79, so we get rid of all of those, 84, 85, and 90. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I got them all. Okay, so the median is just going to be the middle one, and out of a group of 7, that's going to be the 4th one in. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's his middle mark there. Oh, man! As soon as I looked at that, I thought back here and thought, wow, my mean seems a little bit low here, and yeah, it is low because I can see on the calculator what I did, and one of the digits did not come through. Oh, yeah, that makes way more sense. Okay, it's not 67. Okay, I'm sorry, everybody. It's 78%, and it's not even an or. That turned out to be really nicely 78%. So let's just get rid of that. That's the mean. So the median is 79. I mean, those are really, really close here. The mode is going to be, well, the one that shows up the most often is 76. Now, between the 3 of these, right down here, which measure of central tendency would we use to represent his achievement in the class here? Well, I'll take a look at these 3. They're actually relatively close to one another. But the one that we would typically use here would be the mean. Okay? We would use the mean here, and it's because the mean takes everything into account here. Every bit of information here is important in the calculation of the mean. That's not true in the median. That's not true in the mode. Okay? So, and that's the sort of approach that we want to take when we're looking at someone's marks. We want to take and look at everything that they have to offer and kind of give everything its due recognition. So that's why in this particular case the mean makes the most sense.